how we support each other, and how we are there, and how we just are in our element. And you can do all things from with a black woman on the side saying yes, you can accomplish anything you want. And I love that. I love that. And it is a joy to just see you all just in your element and to be in your presence. um what do you think is missing from theater? um and how do we get that? How do we get to be the decision makers? How do
I
we? Yeah.
like personally, just for me, like, um, yes, there's a lot more people of color on the stage now, but I would love to, like, as somebody who spends a lot more time behind the scenes, I would love to see more people who look like me behind the scenes as well, not just people like saying we want to do this show with people of color, but it's like I've been invited to do productions where they want people of color on stage, and I feel like I'm getting brought in as the choreographer of color to make it okay. So I'm like, okay, but like also if you like I understand that you want to bring me in to keep these actors of color safe, but I want you to do the same for me as well. Like, please surround me with more people of color. And like, that's something that I mentioned to Monique when we did Susical. It was the first time in my life when I had looked around at a production meeting and the people of color outnumbered the white people in the room. And I remember asking Monique about that. I was like, I just had an out of body experience. Can you explain that to me? And then she explained to me the fact that Adventure has a 50% policy, which requires 50% of the people on a production to be people of color. And that was something that really sold me because I'd never heard of that. And when I say that to other artistic directors of companies, sometimes they're just like, but other times they're like, that's a thing? We can do that? I'm like, yes, you can. And please do. We would love to see it more. We'd love to. But that's one thing that I like. I want to see like more women directors, like Black women directing, like Monique. And like I know Dannielle like has the behind the scenes experience too. I'm not sure if Felicia, like if you direct as well. I'm like, there's many things that everybody here wears many hats. But that's just my big thing is I would love to just be directed by more of us and have more producers that look like us and more dramaturgists that look like us, like Divinia. It's like
Yeah.
all of this.
I just want to double down on what you're saying, and that my big hope is that companies start to add people of color, women, to their boards, to their senior staff. Let me say that one more time just so everybody hears it. To your senior staff, the people who get to make decisions. Um, I know a lot of people, especially here in DC, comment on not getting audience members of color, not getting younger audiences, especially not getting younger audiences of color. And I would argue, and I have argued in many rooms, that if you had people at the higher level making decisions about what people want to see, and you're producing what other people want to see, you might get those people in the seats. And there's no way to do that if I don't have a couple of people at the table there to give that information. And so we have to, this is what we white America, we see you. This is what this is about. We have to start not only giving us seats at the table, but then giving us an opportunity to talk, and then listening, and then making changes. Action. We can talk about it all we want. We can write down all of the many, many great, wonderful things that we want to do, EDI and all that stuff. But at some point, there needs to be action. And that's what I want to see. That's the thing that needs to change. I need to see people doubling down like a 50% rule. I need to see you. If you're going to say something like that, I need to see you do it. If you say our board's going to have more women on it, I need to see the women. I need to see it. So that's what I would like to see. Some action on all of these beautiful statements that everybody's put out.
I want what Pauline wants, what Felicia wants, and I want more money.
Hey!
Money.
Come on.
Money for salaries.
Hey!
And also money for development. You can't.
Yes.
The season that just happened in New York was so upsetting to me because they said, we need Black people now. Get that dusty script that you had in the drawer out and let's mount it in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Aw, it didn't do well. No, you didn't give those people enough time to develop that work. to workshop it, to have an out-of-town tryout, to have previews, and then to present it to an audience with time of the development that you give all of the other productions. Why would any of those things work if you don't have time and money to create the art that it's supposed to be? That's what frustrates me, because I want I want people of color in all of those spaces, but nobody can make an art in 2 weeks. Nobody is going to make something. That's what, as artists, that's what we do. We create, we collaborate, we have a great first draft, we throw it away, and we start again. And you make it until it is what you actually have to present to the audience. And without money and without time to do that, you can't hold our art up against art who has had time, because it's just not fair and it's not the same product. And that frustrates me the most, because I know lots of amazing playwrights and music directors and people with projects. But in order to say, I need 3 workshops, I need a cast of people, I need to be able to go away to this space and work on this and then bring this back and have a month of previews, it's not going to work. It's just not going to. That frustrates me. Okay, I'm done.
Do you think that we'll ever get to a place where we are not saying first Black X, Y, and Z, first Black yada yada yada, where that will not be a thing, or we won't be holding that up as high of a pedestal as it is? For example, like the first, I hope I'm getting this correct, the first Black full-time Black Gilda,
yeah,
and the first Black Christine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? I guess my question is not, will we ever get there? I guess my question is, why hadn't we gotten there before? Like, why is this? Why is it's specifically for Glinda? Like, she could be anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't she the standby in that show forever?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
She's been there forever.
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like the first Black is more for the people that make the decision to feel congratulated
100%.
than for us.
And that's why I was going to say, no, we won't be around to see it, because it won't be first Black. It'll be first Asian. It'll be first Latino. It'll be first non-binary. It'll be first trans. Sure, it might not be first us, but it's going to be first somebody.
Yep.
Always.
I was reading Shonda Rhimes' book, The Year of Yes, and she was talking about first only different, and that's where this comes from, is that you're the first, only you're different. But I'm just as talented, I am just as smart, I'm just as good, I can do all of these things. Why can we not why can we not just cast based on that talent alone? Is where
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's uncomfortable. And I'm not sure, if I'm being honest, it comes back to what Monique said. It's about money.
Mm-hmm.
The only color that any of the people care about up there, and at most of the theaters here, is green.
Yeah.
And they're putting on stage what they believe will make them the most green.
Yeah.
And so I'm uncomfortable putting somebody like, I believe her name is Brittany, on stage, because I'm not sure about the green. Because she doesn't look like the girl who did it initially, because she's not blonde haired and blue eyed, which is what everybody's used to seeing. I'm not sure if she makes me the green. So I have to wait to do that until I can say the first. And then guess what? Green. Because now I've done something amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And now people will come and see the amazing things we've done. I could be wrong. But that's what I think.
My little humble, optimistic heart is just going to feel like, because I know every show I direct, every show I cast, I'm like, why? Why does it have to be this way? Why?
Right.
We're going to see everybody who's talented. Everybody. And I do that. And I know that there's a lot of me. And I know that even in this, oh, we need a Black woman to do this thing. There's a lot of new associate artistic directors who have the job of casting and have to go up against the, oh, but that's not how we did it before.
Mhm.
And this person's the most talented. So I hope that as many people that we get in senior leadership, as many artistic directors that we get as many casting directors, associate artistic directors that make the decisions that say, yeah, you're up there working on your vision. I'm going to cast this show, and I'm going to cast it with people that look like me and people who are different than it was cast 50 years ago, because who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
And then have an exciting new story to tell, because people would be looking at it through different lenses. My hope, and I really do, I am very optimistic. I say these things that I'm saying because it's what I'm seeing, but I am super optimistic. And I know there's people like you out there, Monique, doing that work. I know it. And there's people like Bobbitt out there doing the work. So I know it's out there. I lost my thought. See, stop talking so much.
So let me ask this question. What do you think is the best advice that you can give to those who are the decision makers out there? You know, I have that question, and I have a follow-up.
Okay, I just got my thought back, and it goes with this, and with what I was saying before. I think the best piece of advice would be don't be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Our business is about taking chances. Our business, all across the creative boards, is about telling stories of people whose stories don't get told. So that means we have to walk in uncomfortable shoes and cross uncomfortable terrain. And so I would say, don't be afraid to do that. Embrace the fact that you have the power to tell these stories, and then bring people in the room who can collaborate and make this story truly a human experience, both for the people on stage and off. And this is not to say don't do the classics. Bring back the classics. Look at it through a different lens.
Yes.
There's an opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm. So much, because like even some of the shows that I see now, I'm like, why couldn't this entire show just be an all Black cast? Why couldn't you tell that story? And it's a very different story sometimes. Like there's a musical about North Carolina, and I'm like, it's typically a very white musical, but I'm like, why can't that be like Black North Carolina? Like, why can't we see Black Southerners in this show instead? Like what? Like it's not. It's like you just said, don't be afraid to just do something a bit different and a bit outside of the norm, because I do know that behind the scenes, it's like you were saying, a lot of these people are worried about the green, and they're worried about their audiences that come to see a certain type of show. They're like, our audience are attached to this kind of classic show. And it's like, but you're not giving them anything else. You're not giving them anything different than what you've always given them. Yeah. And these audience members are aging out. So what is the future of your theater going to look like if these audience members aren't coming in? It's like we're saying, you need these young audiences, not just your younger actors and the younger people behind the scenes. Your theater is not going to thrive and get that green if you do not have the young audience members coming to see the new stuff. And the young people want to see something different.
And then encouraging their young people to come.
Exactly.
I mean, that is what this is legacy. Mm-hmm. This is, I'm creating theater that people want to see now so that they tell their children, like many of you talked about, like Divinia's family. That is what you should be trying to create. The father who takes his children to the theater and says, this is the thing that we do, because this theater creates theater that's exciting, that we want to see. Mm-hmm. And Divinia takes her, that's what we should be trying to do. And we can't do that if people aren't seeing themselves in these stories. Exactly. And that's why, again, I keep saying human experience, because or American experience. I talk about that a lot here in DC. I'm an artistic associate at Ford's, and I'm like, we have a power and a responsibility to tell American stories.
Yeah.
And America doesn't just look like one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
Both of you.
But
yeah.
I would also tell them they need mentors of color. If you are running the organization, you need to have people around you that are of the next generation, because again, hiring someone to that position without let them having the scope and the breadth of the job is going to set them up to fail. You can't hire the new artistic director of the blah, blah, blah if they don't know how to deal with the board, if they don't know enough about season selection, if they don't know enough about the community to be welcomed by that community, you're setting them up to fail. It's not fair. You need to have mentors around you for 5 years, and then you need to quit because you've probably been there too long, and you need to go get your house in Florida and do something else. Just leave. I mean, really. But I would definitely say you need to have young people around you because it will engage and energize them as much as the younger people will be learning from them. And me having the mentors that I have helped me with the tough decisions that I've made in my career. I can't tell you. Just calling and being like, can I just be your little sister for a second? I don't know how to be first. Everybody thinks I know what I'm doing and I don't. You need those people in your life to be like, all right, it's not a big deal. But yeah, there's so many people now, especially, this is quick, that are getting promoted or hired into positions that they were not prepared for with no net. They don't know anything. I mean, even the job that I got, I was like, well, I've done these things separately, but what is the scope of this job? What is expected of me in the space? And how would I know? Like, at least I'm grown enough to be like, you didn't say this. I don't know what it is. Can we have a meeting? But there are younger people that are like, oh, I better not say anything because I don't know what.
And that's me. I'm one of those people that I'm afraid of that kind of conversation. I'm like, I shouldn't be, because I should, like I said, I should just be humble that they even asked me to do this thing.
No,
and that's why I like talking to y'all.
They're supposed to tell you what you're supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be written down, and you have a meeting, and don't be letting them think that just because they hired you, they did their job. They got to set you up for success.
I'm in that middle space too, Pauline, where I'm figuring out, and Monique, I hear you, because what I did when I got my positions recently is like, it was a real change for me. And I had that feeling of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I called my people. I called everybody I could and said, what am I doing? What is this? And, you know, the people that I called are wonderful people who gave me the space to say, ask those questions. And I was raised in a household that said, please ask questions. You have to ask questions. And so it's been a learning curve, but it's definitely, I am of that mindset of, I might not know what I'm doing, but it's not my problem. It's our problem because you hired me to do this work. And I think what you've all spoken to is the like sort of like vaguer advice that I would say to answer your question, Dannielle, is to plan ahead. And I don't just mean like plan your seasons ahead. We've all been doing that. We've been doing that for a while, but plan your goals ahead, plan your organization ahead. What direction are you taking your art for? What direction are you taking your audience? And what is that in the short term? What is that in the long term? And where do you want it to be? What are you trying to gain, right? We know theater is transactional. It is community as much as it is a transaction. What are both sides supposed to gain from that for now and for later? And then what do you want that to look like in the future? And I think once we actually start planning for that, we can actually do what all of y'all have spoken to, which is meaningful change, meaningful conversation, and something that is going to stick, because I'm tired of things that don't stick.
And I just want to say something real quick on this just the young people and how much we need them, because this shift that happened during the pandemic of, is it streaming, is it live, is it a film, is not going away. Whatever this new medium that has been created over the pandemic is not going away. And the young people have a better grasp, hold, understanding of what it is. And they're the ones who are playing with what it will be. And we will need that. We will need that.
And I can even say personally, I've been like, since I started teaching students again, this new medium, like has helped me as an educator, weirdly. Like I've suddenly, like I think I saw Dannielle post a status like this, like during the pandemic, but suddenly I have video editing skills. Suddenly I can make movies for my students. Yes, it's
I'm
like
a lighting designer, if you didn't know.
Yeah, there we go.
Apparently, I can edit movies now.
Yeah.
It's a skill I didn't know I had.
Right.
Dannielle definitely can.
Do you think, though? Do you think that that theater will be impacted in a way that it will be phased out in some way because of the do you think that we're in danger of a world where live theater won't happen because we are in these boxes?
Oh no. Yeah, like
No, it'll
like,
be on top of.
Yeah.
It'll be, I can run the show for a month and then I can also stream it for a month to a another audience.
Exactly.
No. This is going to be a streaming thing that just makes them more money.
Yeah, because I remember a lot of artists were really concerned, like, does theater even survive this pandemic? And it's like the arts have survived pandemics before. They are not going anywhere. We will make it happen because we have
figure it out.
Like,
I think the bigger question will be what Monique said earlier on, which is the money. Us as stage, and how that will shift as we start to do this combo of live and streaming. I believe that there should be a little bit of fear in what that looks like for the creatives.
Right.
Like as they start to do more of this.
Yeah. Are your cast members getting paid for those streams as well? Like, or is it just the company benefiting off of that?
Correct.
This really might be so deep, but I feel like our theater's competition has never been TV or streaming. If it was, we would have gone out a while ago once Netflix came out, y'all. But it's capitalism, though, because how do we? It's Monique. It all goes back to Monique said. We need more money. These people are not getting paid enough. Our artists are not getting paid enough. Actors on our stages, our stage hands, our stage managers, the crew, designers. Nobody's really often getting paid enough to do this for a living, and yet you're expected to bring your passion, your whole personhood, and then hours upon hours of doing that to this work, and then you're not even making enough to live on.
And that is the area you have to have a day job too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're expected to work around these hours, to work crazy days in and out, and then you're just supposed to be grateful because you're doing the thing that you love to do. I don't have to be grateful to be here. I just get to be here. If you want if you want this work that I'm doing, I get to be here, and I should be paid for that. If this is what you want me to do, if you want me to do these hours, I deserve that. If you were going to commandeer a majority of my life, you owe me that money, whether I'm doing art or taxes or I'm a doctor. That's just how it works.
We're getting to the point where it feels like this conversation is more for me than it is for the people that are going to be watching this. I'm like learning, whoo, that hit my soul.
And Pauline, I just wanted to say to you, you said something about being a young artist and it's hard for you to say no. And I was reading the questions that Dannielle had up previously, and she asked some advice that we got. And I just want to say, Capathia Jenkins, I don't know if you know her, but she's an actress in New York. Years ago, I said, okay, I have been like a swing and an ensemble member for a long time, and I want to know, how do I become a lead? And she said, you're going to say no a lot. And it's going to get hard because there's going to be times, and the shows I've done for Rent are Little Shop of Horrors and Ain't Misbehavin'. I've done 8 Little Shop of Horrors and probably about 4 or 5 Ain't Misbehavin', and even directed Ain't Misbehavin' a million times. At some point, you're going to have to say no. And you're going to have to be okay with that no, because the more you say no, the more you'll strengthen the yeses inside of you. And if anything for me that came good or as a benefit, as a silver lining for this time that we've been through, I've been able to get stronger in my yeses and my nos. I know what I don't want to do, what I'm not excited about, what doesn't bring me joy. So that when something sparks, I'm like, that's the thing. That's what I want to do. And if you follow that spark, you're going to have a career that you want to live in. And you need to know that the more you say no, the easier it will get to say no. You'll be like, I don't want to do that. Like when someone asks you something, just sleep on it. And when you wake up in the morning saying, do I have to, if I had to wake up for the next month and do this, would I be happy? No, I don't want to do that.
That's really something I need to think through.
Yeah. And it'll get easier because you'll be if you're not already, which you should be, you'll be in demand. And then you'll be like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. No, I'm good. Because there's this thing I do want to do. And if someone asks you to do something and you don't want to do it, you can say, I'm not interested in that project, but this is the type of project I am interested in. So let me know when you're doing something like that. Give me a call. I'm all over it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you for that. That like just
she blessed me years ago. And I was like, no, I can't say no. No, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Nope, I'm not interested in that. No.
Just slap it all away.
I've also been thinking about the same thing, Monique, just going off of that. My teaching style, I teach fitness also when I'm not doing theater. And my teaching style is to lead by example. So I'll talk through a lot of things, but then I will get on the machine that I work on and I will lead by example so that they can see it. And I've been thinking about that a lot over this pandemic, is that we're asking theaters to be open, honest, transparent with us. And so if that's what I'm asking of them, I have to do the same. And I just say that coming off of what Monique said. I have to be honest with them and tell them what it is that I need. Because like Divinia said, I'm my business. I deserve to be here. I'm owed what I'm owed. Right. I say it to Doug all the time. I'm the CEO, CFO of Felicia Incorporated, or whatever you want to call it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am the business. Right. So if I'm asking your business to be honest and open with me and transparent, I need to be open and honest with you about what my business needs as well. Exactly. And that is hard. And I know that's hard. And I'm saying it knowing that it's still something that I need to work on. But I think that is, again, a silver lining that happened over this pandemic, is the realization that if I'm asking for something, I have to be willing to give it as well. As hard as that is for me.
Yes, I like that.
Well, friends, this was great. I feel so filled.
This is needed. This was like a good warm hug. Just like letting it all out, letting our hair down, and just getting to hear like from all of you beautiful.
Speaking of hair, everybody's hair in this room is everything.
Everyone's.
Okay. I mean, seriously, I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my gosh, why I want my hair to look like
so much magic
and that and also that.
Yes. Listen, I will do a YouTube tutorial. Okay, fine. Listen, sometimes you say. Because I'm not gonna pay somebody at this point, you know.
Well, and you're good at it, Dannielle.
Yeah,
you're good at it.
Yeah, you don't have to pay
you
nobody.
do it and it looks good. Everybody can't do that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you so much for giving of your time, but not just your time, giving of yourselves. And taking part in this conversation and being forthcoming and honest and open and just being yourselves. It is like a warm hug. I feel so warm now. I feel so much closer to you all. We have to figure out a time to do this again, because I would love to do this again. And I'm sure our audience would love. I for a half second almost forgot that we had an audience that was watching this. I was like, oh, we're just talking. We're just on the StreamYard, just having a chat. Oh wait, there are people watching this, so we should wrap them in. But thank you so much. I love you all. You are beautiful. You are wonderful, amazingly talented individuals, because I have like 18,000 more questions that I didn't even get to ask today. So I have to ask those. But for our viewing audience, thank you so much for spending this time with me and my friends. I'm blanking on all of the things I'm supposed to say. Registration for summer camp at Adventure Theater, summer musical theater camp, and summer musical theater training program. Registration is open now. Auditions for our scholarships for SMTTP are Tuesday, April 19th and Saturday, May 21st, if you are interested in auditioning for a scholarship. The other thing that I will announce is that we will be asking for your help in deciding what our summer stock production will be. So please be on the lookout for that information. You'll get to vote and let us know what you think the summer stock show should be. So I'm real excited about that. The brackets are coming. If you feel so led, we would love it if you would make a donation to Adventure Theater. You can make a donation at atmtc.org. No donation is too small because we already talked about the money. So, we talked about the money and its necessity. Thank you. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to my wonderful panel today. Thank you for a wonderful episode of Artistically Black. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.